Hello, and welcome to the March edition of the Lions Spotlight, where we interview members of Lacey Township on scholastic and community issues. I'm Chris Forrest here with Bobby Hogg, the Student Assistance Coordinator. So, Ms. Hogg, what sort of problems do you face?
Well, first I want to say I really appreciate being asked to be in this interview. And as a Student Assistance Coordinator, my job is to work with students sometimes in prevention of substance abuse or alcohol-related issues, and sometimes in actual intervention. For instance, some students come to see me because of personal issues unrelated to substance abuse, some because of their own issues, or maybe they have a parent that has a substance abuse issue. Student assistance means that I'm there to assist students, and I don't do any academic counseling. I don't know a lot about scheduling or what you need to graduate, but I work to help students be successful so that I guess the theory is that if students aren't distracted or stressed because of other issues outside of school or in their personal lives, they certainly can function better inside of school and do better academically. So my job is to do a lot of prevention and intervention.
Mm-hmm. What is a friendly referral?
A friendly referral is, to give an example, if a student or a teacher or a parent, really anyone, was concerned about a student in terms of possible, and I want to stress the word possible, substance abuse, what they do is when I receive that name, I would see how the student's doing academically, and if it seems warranted, follow up by meeting with the student, speaking with the parent to ensure that substance abuse isn't interfering with that student. It basically means that someone cared enough about someone and was worried about them to make sure that they're all right, because as you know, and most people know, that substance abuse or chemicals and alcohol are certainly available to our students within the community, nationwide really. So Lacey School is very proactive, and they want to make sure that our students, can succeed. And one way of doing that is to ensure that substance abuse, if a student does get involved and it begins to interfere, we certainly want to help them. So my job is really to help someone through a friendly referral.
Mm-hmm. What happens when a student is found with drugs in their system?
Well, oftentimes we do urine drug testing here, and when myself is involved in a friendly referral, that is only with parental permission. Oftentimes we also will do, as per policy, urine testing with other students. If a student does turn out to have a positive urine, that would suggest that yes, there's chemicals in their system. The state law says that a student cannot be in school with what we would call a dirty urine. So what we do is we take them out of school and offer them help that way.
Now, we know you have group discussions in your class. What do you talk about in these discussions?
Well, whenever a student has been identified and is working with me, we often will offer them the opportunity to be in a group setting with me. In that setting, we do a lot of talking, obviously, about substance abuse and the consequences of that. Sometimes we talk about relationships, boy-girl dating relationships, or parental relationships, trying coping, life skills. It's really about life skills and trying to work out to make ourselves more productive and happier people.
What did you work prior to this position?
Actually, I come from the addictions field. My degrees are in addiction and substance abuse and student assistance. So prior to this, I worked at Kimball Medical Center in the counseling unit, and also a psychiatric hospital in Pennsylvania. And so I really come from the addictions field. And when I started working at Lacey, I was transferring that to work with students in the schools.
Right.
I don't come from a teaching background.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we're going to take a short commercial break, but when we come back, we'll have the second part of the interview with Ms. Hogg.
Bad people, the gang members in the neighborhood. My brother, he wouldn't be happy at all if I was to tell him I was going to drop out of school. He would not approve of that, because then that's going to be two of us not handling our business.
Me and my friends are close, and we all believe in each other. I know they could graduate, even if it takes them longer.
in the 4 years.
We have classes together, so
We study together, we help each other with our homework.
realized we messed up in the past.
Failed a couple classes before, not doing as much work as I should be doing. My two best friends, they keep me working hard.
Welcome back to the March edition of the Lions Spotlight. We're back with the second part of the interview with Ms. Hogg. So, Ms. Hogg, what do you need to become a student assistance coordinator?
Well, a student assistance coordinator is certified by the state of New Jersey and the Department of Education to do this position. It requires a lot of postgraduate work, meaning you would get your 4-year degree and then take, I believe today they've upped it to about 27 additional credits, master's level credits. And then you have to work in the field in a school before you can actually become certified. They also have an internship. And that certification allows people to do what I do. It is not a teaching degree, but it is for doing this type of student assistance.
What is the Students Intervention Program?
The Student Intervention Program, and I want to point out that we're actually the only school in the county that has that. And through our drug and alcohol policy, zero tolerance, we, if a student is found to be under the influence, as I said before, they cannot be in school. If they have been arrested for a substance-related issue, they also become suspended. So years ago, before we had that program, what used to happen is the students would just be sent home. And we're fortunate in Lacey that our school board recognized that that really doesn't address the issue. What happens when you don't have a program is students are out of school, not getting their schoolwork, and the second part of that is the issue that's got them in that position in the first place hasn't been addressed. So what the Student Assistance Program does is, it's a Student Assistance Intervention Program. It's actually located at the St. Pius Church. They're kind enough to let us use their building. But at that program, we have two staff members. We have a counselor, a student assistance coordinator, similar to myself. That woman would be Abby Sly. She also is the student assistance coordinator in the middle school. And we have a certified teacher who's also certified in special education. His name is Mr. Bill McLeod. So the day there, the student go like a regular day of school, and part of the day is spent getting their schoolwork done, and the other part of that is spent with Miss Abby, and she does a lot of education, intervention, and also an evaluation while the student's there to help them figure out what got them there and maybe begin to address some of the issues, and if necessary, make referrals for additional help before the student returns to school.
What core programs do the other schools in the district offer?
Well, once again, Lacey, I believe, is kind of a forerunner here, is that we also have a student assistance coordinator in every school. At the elementary level, we have Sue Garner, and she works actually in all of our elementary schools. Her work is spent with a lot of education and prevention, working with the health teachers. She also runs support groups with students in the elementary school. Oftentimes, her support groups include children or focused on children who maybe have a parent or another family member that has an addiction or is recovering from a disease of addiction, and she works with them to help them cope better and learn strategies. Miss Abby, she's the woman that's also at our Student Assistance Intervention Program. She works in the middle school, and her job is very similar to mine. She does a lot of intervention. Many of us know that oftentimes students begin to experiment with cigarettes, alcohol, and other chemicals in the middle school years. So she's right there to do an intervention and work with the students to maybe prevent, when they get to high school, having more problems.
How strict are the rules for confidentiality?
They're very, very strict. Actually, in this country, the confidentiality rules for substance abuse and alcohol-related issues are the strictest. More strict, believe it or not, than a clergy person or a lawyer. For instance, if a student comes to see me or Miss Abby or Mrs. Garner, we cannot disclose their name to anyone. Anything they may share in terms of their use is very strict, so that if I see a student and they share that they're using chemicals, I can't disclose that to their parents, their teachers, the administrators, Mr. Zielinski. It's very strict. And many people think that's kind of confusing, that how do you help someone? But I believe that in our government, they felt that if people cannot access treatment without being afraid that someone will find out, they might not access treatment. So even for a student, that confidentiality is very, very strict.
And how do you feel about your job here at the high school?
I really, really like my job. To me, I guess I've always liked people. I've been very people-oriented, but I can say that at Lacey, they're so supportive of this program, that they have stepped up. They recognize that substance abuse can be an issue and is an issue, and they're addressing it. I also feel very fortunate that to share something with someone is it's an intimate thing. When someone shares their problems with me, they're trusting me, and I feel very honored by that. Sometimes it gets very hectic, but I think the school setting is a lot of fun. I've learned a tremendous amount working with the schools. And I think that Lacey schools, certainly the high school, are very supportive and very supportive of their students. I don't find teachers or administrators particularly judgmental. They try very hard to support the students, even those that are identified and have to be out of school, get a lot of support. And I think that's very positive.
Well, thank you for coming down to the studio today.
Thank
We are now going to take a short commercial break, but when we get back, we'll be talking with the studio mascot.
I've always wanted to get a tattoo, but this wasn't what I was hoping for. Remember to drive safely, because the consequences will hurt everyone around you.
Welcome back to the Lions Spotlight. On the first portion of the show, we interviewed Bobby Hogg, our Student Assistance Coordinator. Now we are back with an interview with our studio mascot. Recently, we had a poll on the school website in order to name this little guy. And as voted by you, please welcome Philo. So Philo, how does it feel to be our mascot?
Well, I have to say, I'm honored to be your mascot. Where else can I get this much appreciation? And plus, there's plenty of cute girls around here.
What do you do to show your school spirit?
I sit here and support our teams during their games. I'm sure you've seen me at sporting events.
No, I can't say that I have. Well, what is it like to be our mascot?
Well, I have to be honest. It's just like smelling roses, baby. Pleasing, but you don't get thorns jammed in your hands.
What characteristics make you a good mascot?
A strong, determined spirit, and help prove my mouth really doesn't hurt.
How did you become our mascot?
I was at the Popcorn Park Zoo, but I got really sick and tired of all that popcorn. I couldn't take it anymore, so I broke out and held up one of those party stores. I was caught, of course, and I do this as community service.
What is your favorite school sport?
Well, I'm quite fond of that track. It makes me smile to see prey running around in such a smooth fashion.
What do you do in your free time?
Well, sitting here overnight allows me to collect dust.
How do you get your hair so straight?
Lather, rinse, repeat. Always repeat, baby.
Why do you look angry all the time?
I'm like thoughts of wrinkly dogs. I have a lot of wrinkles, so when I look angry, I'm actually very angry.
Where are you from?
The first place I remember was being in Utah. I was a little tiny cub, and the cold manufacturing hands of life shipped me to these parts of the country.
What did you do before you were a mascot?
I worked at Walmart, of course. They hire everybody.
Well, thank you, Philo, for taking the time to not stare blankly at the cameras and answer our questions. That's all the time we have for this edition of the Lions Spotlight. Please tune in to TV 21 for other great shows like Lacey Township Today and Nick and Dan's extraordinary exhibition of entertainment. This is the Lions Spotlight. I'm Chris Forrest. Have a great day, everybody. Clear. Oh my. That was